Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Anuja Kumar with the Midday News. The headlines. Both houses of parliament face frequent disruptions following opposition protests over several issues. Leader of the House in Rajya Sabha Piyush Goyal says government is ready for discussion on price rise tomorrow. President of the Maldives Ibrahim Mohammed Saleh to arrive in New Delhi this afternoon for a 4-day visit to India. GST revenue collection in July mounts to the second highest ever figure. Centre forms task force to monitor monkeypox situation in the country. Prime Minister Modi urges people to take part in Har Ghar Tiranga campaign. Shiv Sena leader Sanjay Raut arrested by Enforcement Directorate in money laundering case. Myanmar's military to extend emergency by 6 months. New Zealand reopens its borders for the first time since March 2020. And in cricket, India to take on the West Indies in the second T20 International at Warner Park tonight. The Rajya Sabha was adjourned till 2 p.m. following protests by opposition parties over various issues, including alleged misuse of the Enforcement Directorate and price rise. When the House met after the first adjournment at 12 noon, members from the Congress, Shiv Sena, TMC and others again trooped into the well, raising slogans against the government. DMK, AAP, Left, NCP and others were also on their feet. Amid continuous uproar, Leader of the House Piyush Goyal said very important legislations are to be taken up, urging the agitating members to allow the House to function. He said the government is ready for discussion on price rise tomorrow. On the alleged misuse of the ED, Mr. Goyal said the government does not interfere in the work of investigating agencies and they are doing their job. He added action will be taken against those who break the law. Reacting to it, Leader of Opposition Mallikarjun Kharge accused the government of undermining democracy and trying to destabilize the elected government. He raised the issue of price rise, Gujarat Hooch tragedy and alleged misuse of the central agency. Amid sloganeering, the presiding officer tried to run the question hour, but in vain. Later, he adjourned the House till 2 p.m. Earlier, when the House met for the day, members from Shiv Sena, Congress and NCP trooped into the well, displaying placards over the arrest of Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut. Members of TMC, Left, AAP, DMK and other opposition parties were also on their feet. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu said this issue has nothing to do with the business of the House and urged the members to go back to their seats. As they continued their protest, the House was adjourned till 12 noon, minutes after it met for the day. The Lok Sabha was adjourned till 2 p.m. as the opposition members raised loud slogans during the laying of papers on the table. Some members also entered the well of the House. As the House met at 12 p.m. after the first adjournment, Congress leader Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary stood to speak something, but the chair did not allow him to speak. Then the Congress, DMK and Left members trooped into the well of the House raising slogans. Amidst the din, the chair adjourned the House till 2 p.m. The government today reiterated that it is ready for discussion on every issue in Parliament and accused the opposition of running away from the debate. Talking to reporters outside Parliament, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur said the discussion on the price rise is listed in the business, but opposition is not ready for discussion.
सरकार की ओर से यह है कि हम किसी भी विषय पर चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार हैं। महंगाई पर चर्चा आज लगी है, लेकिन विपक्ष आज भी चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार नहीं। इससे विपक्ष का चेहरा बेनकाब भी होता है कि ये लोग केवल हल्ला करने के लिए आते हैं, चर्चा करने में विश्वास नहीं रखते हैं। अभी भी प्रश्न देश से जुड़े हुए पूछे जा सकते थे, लेकिन प्रश्नकाल को भी चलने नहीं दिया गया। आखिरकार विपक्ष चाहता क्या है? देश की जनता भी ये जानना चाहती है।
Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi echoed a similar view. Talking to reporters outside Parliament, he said many bills are to be passed appealing to the opposition to allow both houses to function. He said if they are really interested in discussion on price rise, they should allow it to be taken up in the Lok Sabha today and the Rajya Sabha tomorrow. On a question over the revocation or suspension of MPs, the minister said they should regret their conduct and assured the House that they will not bring placards, then the government is ready to move a motion in this regard. Union Minister Piyush Goyal also alleged that the opposition is evading the debate on the issue of price rise.
पक्ष महंगाई से भाग रहे, उनके मन में शंका है कि सरकार ने जो अच्छे काम किए वो सामने आएंगे और ऑपोजिशन को खुलासा कर देंगे कि कैसे ऑपोजिशन के राज्यों ने महंगाई के ऊपर ठोस कदम नहीं उठाए, वैट भी नहीं कम किया पेट्रोल डीजल पे। ऑपोजिशन अब महंगाई की चर्चा से, जीएसटी की चर्चा से भाग रही है, ये पूरी तरीके से आज स्पष्ट हो गया। ने अपील की है कि दोनों सदन सुचारू रूप से चले, सरकार अपना पक्ष भी रख सके, विपक्ष भी रखे।
BJP members from West Bengal today protested in the Parliament complex over the SSC recruitment scam in the state and arrest of State Minister Partho Chatterjee. The party MPs displayed placards and raised slogans against the TMC government. On the other hand, left MPs held a protest in front of the Mahatma Gandhi statue in the Parliament complex regarding the allocation of work under the MG Narega scheme. The Union government today said there is no proposal under consideration of the government in lieu of Kendriya Vidyalaya coupons. In a written reply to the Lok Sabha, Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan informed the House that government has taken many steps to streamline the admission process in KVs. Mr. Pradhan said KVs have a distinct character and are established to cater to the educational needs of the wards of transferable employees of the central government, including defence and paramilitary personnel, central autonomous bodies and central public sector undertakings by providing a common program of education throughout the country. The minister informed that the entire process of fresh admission in Class 1, such as submitting applications by the prospective parents and waitlist of candidates, has been done through online application portal to streamline the admission process in KVs. Mr. Pradhan emphasized this has enhanced transparency and elimination of human error. He said the Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan has withdrawn some of the provisions that were discretionary, such as quota of Education Minister and Members of Parliament.
President of the Maldives, Ibrahim Mohamed Saleh, will arrive in New Delhi this afternoon on a 4-day visit to India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold talks with Mr. Saleh tomorrow. Several agreements are expected to be signed after the talks. Mr. Saleh is also scheduled to meet President Draupadi Murmu at Rashtrapati Bhavan tomorrow. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will call on the Maldivian President today. Mr. Saleh is also scheduled to visit Mumbai on Wednesday.
Maldives is India's key neighbor in the Indian Ocean region and occupies a special place in India's Neighbourhood First policy. India was among the first to recognize Maldives after its independence in 1965 and to establish diplomatic relations with the country. In recent years, the partnership has witnessed rapid growth in all areas of cooperation. President Soli's visit will provide an opportunity for the two leaders to review the progress made in this wide-ranging partnership and lend further momentum to it. With the pain, unpermished AI News, Delhi.
The Finance Ministry has said the revenue collection from GST for the month of July is the second highest ever. With over 1,48,000 crore rupees, the revenue was 28% higher than in the same month last year. The central GST collection is over 25,000 crore rupees. The state GST is over 32,000 crore rupees and integrated GST is over 79,000 crore rupees. The cess collection is over 10,000 crore rupees. This is the second highest revenue since the introduction of GST. The revenues for the month of July 2022 are 28% higher than the GST revenues in the same month last year of 1,16,393 crore rupees. During the month, revenues from import of goods was 48% higher and the revenues from domestic transaction including import of services are 22% higher than the revenues from these sources during the same month last year. The Finance Ministry said for 5 months in a row now, the monthly GST revenues have been more than 1.4 lakh crore rupees, showing a steady increase every month. The growth in GST revenue till July 2022 over the same period last year is 35% and displays a very high buoyancy. It said this is a clear impact of various measures taken by the Council in the past to ensure better compliance. Better reporting coupled with economic recovery has been having positive impact on the GST revenues on a consistent basis. During the month of June 2022, 7.45 crore e-way bills were generated, which was marginally higher than 7.36 crore in May 2022.
Skill Development and Entrepreneurship Minister Dharmendra Pradhan today said 2 Pradhan Mantri National Apprenticeship Melas (PMNAM) have been conducted during June and July 2022 since its inception. In a written reply in the Lok Sabha, the minister said the government is striving to train 1 million youth per year through apprenticeship training. The minister said PMNAM helps to bring greater number of youth and establishments into the apprenticeship fold. Mr. Pradhan said a total of 69,983 candidates participated in the 2 Melas, and post-Mela, 52,873 apprenticeship contracts were generated. The minister informed the House that apprenticeship Melas create opportunities for apprenticeship for youth in the establishments and industries to bridge the skill gap by imparting on-the-job training and to make them industry-ready and employable. Mr. Pradhan also said the government proposes to organize apprenticeship Melas across the country on a monthly basis. He said his ministry has taken many steps in consultation with various stakeholders to simplify the portal and the process and to revise the National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme guidelines.
Over 36 lakh crore rupees worth of loan amounts have been disbursed to micro, small and medium enterprises MSMEs during the last 3 fiscal years. This was stated by Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Minister Narayan Rane in a written reply in the Rajya Sabha today. He said 13.62 lakh crore rupees worth of loan amount have been disbursed to MSMEs in the last fiscal year. He added over 11 lakh crore rupees have been disbursed through loan in the fiscal year 2020-21 and 11.4 crore rupees in 2019-20. The minister said the government has taken various measures to boost easy, cheap and accessible loan facilities to MSMEs. He said the emergency credit line guarantee scheme was announced as part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat package in May 2020 to support MSMEs in view of the distress caused by the COVID-19 crisis. The scheme is valid till March next year.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Both houses of Parliament face frequent disruptions following opposition protests over several issues. Leader of the House in Rajya Sabha Piyush Goyal says government is ready for discussion on price rise tomorrow. President of Maldives Ibrahim Mohammed Soleh to arrive in New Delhi this afternoon for a 4-day visit to India. GST revenue collection in July mounts to second highest ever figure. Centre forms task force to monitor monkeypox situation in the country. Prime Minister Modi urges people to take part in Har Ghar Tiranga campaign. Shiv Sena leader Sanjay Raut arrested by Enforcement Directorate in money laundering case. Myanmar's military to extend emergency by 6 months. New Zealand reopens its borders for the first time since March 2020. And in cricket, India to take on West Indies in the second T20 International at Warner Park tonight. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
क्या आप वरिष्ठ नागरिक हैं? क्या आपके मन में सेहत, आर्थिक, सामाजिक या भावनात्मक मुद्दों से जुड़ा कोई सवाल है? आकाशवाणी आपके लिए लेकर आया है कार्यक्रम एक कदम और बुजुर्गों के लिए हर रविवार रात 9:30 बजे FM गोल्ड पर। आप अपने सवाल हमें व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर भेज सकते हैं या इस पते पर ईमेल कर सकते हैं एक कदम और airnews@gmail.com।
कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स की तैयारी कर रहे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो लाया है अभ्यास, एक ऐसा प्रोग्राम जहां आपकी जिज्ञासा को लगेगा विराम, क्योंकि व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 या फिर abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर भेजें। आपके सवालों के जवाब हमारे एक्सपर्ट शनिवार रात 9:30 बजे देते हैं। इस बार का विषय है पॉलिटिकल साइंस, तो आप रेडी हो जाएं अपने सवालों के साथ। रवाना कर दें हमें जल्द से जल्द। अंतिम तारीख 3 अगस्त। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the Midday News. Shiv Sena Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Raut was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate ED at midnight in Mumbai after hours of searches at his residence. He was questioned for over 6 hours by the ED officials in an alleged Patra Chawl land scam case. The centre has formed a task force in the wake of monkeypox cases in India to monitor and provide guidance to the government on the expansion of diagnostic facilities and to explore vaccination for the infection in the country. The decision was taken at a meeting yesterday attended by the Cabinet Secretary, Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan, Additional Secretary at the PMO and other senior officials. India has reported 4 monkeypox cases so far, 3 cases in Kerala and 1 in Delhi. Talking to AIR News, member Health in Niti Aayog, Dr. V.K. Paul said the government has set up a network of 15 ICMR laboratories to deal with the problem of monkeypox.
जब से मंकी पॉक्स के ये केसेस आने शुरू हुए, थोड़ा थोड़ा दिखने शुरू हुआ भारत के देशों में कुछ हफ्तों से, भारत सरकार ने पूरी तैयारी करा है और इसके साथ साथ एक लेबोरेटरीज का नेटवर्क डायग्नोसिस के लिए कर दिया गया है। आईसीएमआर की 15 लेबोरेटरीज वो फंक्शनल है, उसमें डायग्नोसिस हो रहा है। वो लेबोरेटरीज देश के 7 हिस्सों में है और रिएजेंट्स की कोई कमी नहीं है और जैसे जैसे जरूरत पड़ेगी और बढ़ोतरी करी जाएगी। जो हमारा नॉर्मल सर्वेलेंस का सिस्टम है, जो आईडीएसपी का डिजीज सर्वेलेंस सिस्टम है, उसको पूरा चौकन्ना कर दिया गया और वो सारे देश में वो व्याप्त है कि ऐसे ही बीमारी के लक्षण वाले व्यक्ति अगर दिखाई देते हैं तो उनको फिर वो जैसे आगे प्रक्रिया उनके कॉन्टैक्ट्स की क्या करना है, कैसे उसको आगे बढ़ाना है जो काम है। इसी प्रकार जो इंटरनेशनल ट्रैवलर्स हैं उनके ऊपर भी नजर रखी जा रही है।
The Kerala government has initiated a high-level inquiry into the death of a 22-year-old youth suspected to have monkeypox-like symptoms in Thrissur. The youth, who recently returned from the United Arab Emirates, has tested positive for monkeypox abroad. The State Health Department has advised those in contact with the deceased person to go into isolation. Meanwhile, the country's first monkeypox patient, a 35-year-old man in Kollam, was discharged from the Medical College Hospital in Thiruvananthapuram after recovering from the disease. There are 2 other active cases of monkeypox in the state, and their health condition is reported to be stable. Over 204 crore 34 lakh vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. The Health Ministry said over 8,34,000 doses were administered yesterday. The recovery rate is currently at 98.48%. Over 16,000 people recovered in the last 24 hours. Total number of recoveries have reached 4 crore 33 lakh 65,890. Over 16,000 new cases were recorded in the last 24 hours. India's active caseload currently stands at 1,43,989.
The military government of Myanmar has extended the state of emergency by 6 months till February 2023. Head of the military government, General Min Aung Hlaing, said yesterday that elections could be held only when the country was stable and peaceful. General Hlaing requested the National Defence and Security Council to allow him to serve for an additional 6 months, which was approved by the acting president, Min Aung. The state of emergency in Myanmar was first declared in February 2021. In New Zealand, the borders are fully open for the first time since March 2020, when they shut in an effort to keep out COVID-19. According to media reports, immigration authorities will now begin accepting visitors with visas and those on student visas again. However, most visitors will still need to be fully vaccinated, but there are no quarantine requirements. The country's maritime border has also reopened with cruise ships and foreign recreational yachts now allowed to dock.
The national flag is a symbol of pride for India. To honour our flag, Har Ghar Tiranga program will be organised across the country. The initiative has been taken under the aegis of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, for which the Ministry of Culture is the nodal ministry. It will inspire Indians to hoist the national flag at their homes. Our relationship with the flag has always been more formal and institutional than personal, bringing the flag home collectively as a nation in the 75th year of independence thus becomes symbolic of not only an act of personal connection to the Tiranga, but also an embodiment of our commitment to nation building. The idea behind the initiative is to invoke the feeling of patriotism in the hearts of the people and promote awareness about our national flag. During his Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio yesterday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had called upon all citizens to turn the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign into a mass movement by hoisting or displaying the national flag at their homes. He also called upon people to use the tricolour as display picture of their social media accounts to commemorate the 75th anniversary of India's independence.
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के तहत 13 से 15 अगस्त तक एक स्पेशल मूवमेंट हर घर तिरंगा का आयोजन किया जा रहा है। इस मूवमेंट का हिस्सा बनकर 13 से 15 अगस्त तक आप अपने घर पर तिरंगा जरूर फहराएं या उसे अपने घर पर लगाएं। तिरंगा हमें जोड़ता है, हमें देश के लिए कुछ करने के लिए प्रेरित करता है। मेरा एक सुझाव ये भी है कि 2 अगस्त से 15 अगस्त तक हम सभी अपनी सोशल मीडिया प्रोफाइल पिक्चर में तिरंगा लगा सकते हैं।
अब हर घर की छत पर शान से फहरेगा तिरंगा, गुनगुनाए जाएंगे नव विकास के गीत, आन बान शान का प्रतीक राष्ट्रध्वज तिरंगा। आइए आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर इस स्वाधीनता दिवस हर घर फहराते हैं तिरंगा और लेते हैं भव्य और सशक्त भारत के निर्माण का संकल्प।
आइए हर घर फहराएं तिरंगा।
And now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव। Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
The Non-Cooperation Movement was initiated by the Indian National Congress led by Mahatma Gandhi on the 1st of August 1920 against the Rowlatt Act. It is said that the Home Rule movement that was started by Annie Besant and Bal Gangadhar Tilak exactly 4 years ago on the 1st of August 1916 set the stage for the Non-Cooperation Movement. Both movements form an integral part of the history of the struggle for independence in India.
The essential feature of the Non-Cooperation Movement was that it was a peaceful and non-violent one, keeping with the principles of Gandhiji. On the 22nd of February 1922, in Chauri Chaura, Uttar Pradesh, the non-violent protest was disrupted and 22 policemen were killed, leading to suspension of the movement by Gandhiji.
Despite the movement's failure to achieve Swaraj, it was a remarkable movement in which the people were united like never before. It was truly a mass movement involving a huge number of people, even in remote villages and towns. The movement shocked the British administration and uplifted the spirits of millions of Indians.
We also remember Gandhian freedom fighter Ram Narayan Chaudhary, who was born on the 1st of August 1895 at Neemkathana area of Rajasthan. He dedicated over 3 decades of his life to India's independence struggle and spent 6 years in jail for fighting against the British Empire and for the people oppressed by the princely states in Rajasthan.
Ram Narayan Chaudhary joined Kranti Dal while receiving education in engineering at the Maharaja College, Jaipur.
He was drawn by the revolutionary principles of Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Aurobindo Ghosh, Giuseppe Mazzini, Swami Vivekanand, among others. His life took a turn towards non-violent revolution after he heard Gandhiji's speech in Calcutta in 1915 as a student.
Ram Narayan rejected the offers of scholarship and foreign education, instead choosing to educate the young minds. In 1917, he joined Jamnalal Bajaj and started teaching at the Marwadi Education Society at Wardha.
On the suggestion of Gandhiji, Ram Narayan went back to Rajasthan and created the Rajasthan Seva Sangh with the aid of Vijay Singh Pathik, Shobhalal Gupta, Maniklal Verma, Haribhai Kinkar and Bhavarlal. The chief purpose of Rajasthan Seva Sangh was to uplift the poor and downtrodden of Rajasthan and work in tandem with the landless labourers of the region.
Since 1920, both Ram Narayan and his wife Anjana Devi started living on the principles of aparigraha and austerity. They accepted khadi as integral parts of their lives. The Salt March brought a new flavour of valour, strength and responsibility in the life of Ram Narayan. During the Salt March, Ram Narayan took the administrative responsibilities of the Sabarmati Ashram.
He later joined Gandhiji at Dandi on the 5th of April 1930. On Gandhiji's advice, he soon left for Ajmer and urged the salt producers to defy the law. Ram Narayan was arrested after this speech and sent to Ajmer Central Jail.
Ram Narayan actively participated in the Quit India movement in 1942 in Ajmer and was arrested for 3 years. After his release from prison, Ram Narayan moved to Sabarmati Ashram and translated a bulk of Gandhian literature.
After independence, Ram Narayan dedicated his life to social work and writing. He passed away in Ajmer on the 4th of April 1989. AIR News salutes the Gandhian nationalist Ram Narayan Chaudhary.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
On to sports. In cricket, India will take on West Indies in the second T20 international match at the Warner Park in Basseterre, St. Kitts tonight. The match will start at 8 p.m. IST. India currently lead the 5-match series by a 1-0 margin. Indian weightlifting contingent's dream run at the Commonwealth Games 2022 in Birmingham continued as India's representative in men's 73 kg Achinta Shiuli bagged the gold medal in his event. President Draupadi Murmu has congratulated Achinta Shiuli on winning gold medal. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has also congratulated Achinta Shiuli. Congratulating Achinta Shiuli, Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted that he is delighted that the talented Achinta Shiuli has won a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games. Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur has also congratulated him.
Now let us take a quick look at the weather update for the day. National capital Delhi is expected to have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 32. Mumbai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Chennai will have thunderstorm with rain. Kolkata expected to have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Both houses of parliament face frequent disruptions following opposition protests over several issues. Leader of the House in Rajya Sabha, Piyush Goyal, says government is ready for discussion on price rise tomorrow. President of the Maldives, Ibrahim Mohamed Saleh, to arrive in New Delhi this afternoon for 4-day visit to India. GST revenue collection in July amounts to the second highest ever figure. Centre forms task force to monitor monkeypox situation in the country. Prime Minister Modi urges people to take part in Har Ghar Tiranga campaign. Shiv Sena leader Sanjay Raut arrested by Enforcement Directorate in money laundering case. Myanmar's military to extend emergency by 6 months. New Zealand reopens its borders for the first time since March 2020. And in cricket, India to take on the West Indies in the second T20 International at Warner Park tonight. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the midday news.